Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are trying out a bunch of new products released from Natasha Denona, ILIA, Huda Beauty, Buxom, you name it, they're on my table and we're gonna try them out, see what they're all about. That is how I got this look. Before we jump into it though, if you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, hit the bell for notifications for new videos, and if you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. But if you wanna see how I got this look using some new products, just keep watching. Good morning, you guys. I have quite a few things in front of me that are new that I want to try out and I just haven't had a chance yet. Today is technically my day off, so I'm taking a little bit of time, but we do also plan on leaving here very soon. So let's dive in. I have the Natasha Dona I Need a Warm palette. When I first saw this, I was like, ooh, I love a beautiful brown color story. And this is definitely something that I can use every day. I do have the I Need a Nude, which I kind of discussed in the unboxing of this palette. The colors are a little bit warmer. They're not too intense on the warm side like the bronze palette, but I do want to swatch the shades, see what I want to play around with, definitely get an idea for the color story. If you love a neutral brown palette, this is definitely that girl. The swatches are nice. The cream to powder formula, one of my favorites in her palettes. The shimmers are very beautiful. I love the shade Phenomena because it does have that shift between kind of like a bronze and an orange. There's even like flakes of red in there. And then you have some really glittery shades like Homey and what's that? Dynamism? I don't know how to say that. And I love the quality of her formulations. I love how beautiful the matte shades are. I've been excited to play around with this because I have been loving some neutral brown eye looks lately, especially as we're getting into the fall crisp months here in Germany. So I'm excited to dive into this, play around with it. There's really only a couple lighter shades like Mellow or Ripe, and then the rest of them are mid-tone and deeper. So I'm excited to play around with this and see what I can come with. I probably will use Mellow because it's very light and I want to see how it's going to perform, especially when I reach for it on a day-to-day basis. So let me clean these off, prime my eyes, and we'll dive in. Okay guys, before I dive into this, I did want to bring up the I Need a Nude palette. It is very much that cool tone palette. Very similar packaging, just this one's a little more like rose gold type. This color story is very cool tone as far as I'm concerned. I use this quite a bit, but I tend to gravitate towards warmer tones for my like everyday work look. So that side-by-side comparison, in case you didn't see my haul video where I say haul, I unpacked the box that Luke sent me that this was in, but you've got your cool tone gray tones and browns, and then you've got your deeper, richer brown tones that you're used to, if that's your color vibe. I am loving it, so I want to play around with it. I do have a couple other palettes with me, but none that are specifically warm-toned brown neutrals. Like I even have the Glam palette, and that still has like deeper tones of like blackish brown. All right, I'm gonna go into the shade Mellow. I know there were a lot of people that were saying we don't really need this palette. I can understand where they're coming from, especially because not everyone loves a just plain brown neutral palette. I want to use the mirror. She has some really good mirrors in her palettes, but I still had the film on it. So I'm going to start with my fluffy crease brush and put that in the crease and a little bit in the outer V. Do I personally need another neutral brown palette? No, I have a ton in my collection. But if you're trying to, so maybe you have a palette and you need to replace it and you want good quality shadows, you're gonna get that in her palettes. Natasha Denona just has a beautiful formulation. Back in the day, I was not spending the money to buy her palettes. They were most times over $100. And I was just like, as much as I want to have a palette, I just wasn't spending that kind of money. Sometimes I do, sometimes I indulge. I've bought the Didn't Samari's Lightwork palettes. Those are absolutely stunning. And I also think they're worth over $100 because there are different formulations and colors and multi-chromes. When you get into that type of stuff, the quality, how much it costs changes dramatically sometimes, especially when you have a good quality multi-chrome. But you can also get that from indie brands, and their prices tend to be much higher because they're doing it themselves. There's not corporate backing, there's not funding that is being sent to them. And sometimes there's quite a few that I follow and I've purchased, but they're hand pressing their palettes. And there's so much love and dedication into each of them, but they're also not ordering huge quantities. So when you order smaller quantities, it increases the price. There's so much that goes into it. I started on my marketing degree, but I have not finished it. But that's where a lot of that knowledge comes from. I'm torn because I want to go. Do I want to go super dark or do I want to stay? I think I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into the shade Vim. Gonna pick it up on my fluffy crease brush first and then deepen it up a little bit. I'm just gonna drop it a little bit lower in that crease. I do want to know, are you picking this up? Also, I do have an affiliate code. It is in the drop down box and I will have it on the screen. Most of my codes are Ashley Lorraine. Sometimes I don't get the code that is similar, especially if there's someone else that already has it. But for the most part, my codes are in the drop down box if you're interested in saving a little bit of change if you purchase. And I do appreciate it because I make a commission off of it. But I'll have clickable links for the products as well. Now I'm going to go into the shade Pep. This I think is going to be my deepest shade, and I'm going to use my compacted smudge brush for this one. Like, it's warm toned, but it leans more like neutral than warm. Whereas some of the other shades are a little more red toned, and that's not the vibe today. You guys, it's funny. My mustache tattoo has kind of like faded off a little bit and it's not as noticeable. One of the guys I work with, he saw it yesterday, 2 days ago? I think it was 2 days ago. And he's like, wait, is that? I said, what are you talking about? And he's like, is that a tattoo? And I was like, maybe. He was like, you don't draw that on every day. I was like, no, I don't draw it on every day. He's like, I just noticed it. I have been here a month and he has not noticed it. I thought it was funny. I do need to get it touched up when I go back home. Maybe I'll find a place out here to have it touched up. Because I do want it to be a little more prevalent than it is right now. But that's the thing with finger tattoos, and depending on where the skin is or how the skin is, sometimes it pulls and just doesn't take. So I'll see if I can get it touched up. I didn't add extra product. I just, whatever is on my brush already from when I dipped into the shade Vim, I just want to finesse the edges. I'm going to go into the shade Phenomena. This one I'm going to pick up on my middle finger and place it right here in the center. Ooh, that's pretty. I don't have to pick up a lot, so I just start out slowly picking up these shades because you dip in ever so slightly and you get a lot of color payoff. Now I'm going to go into the shade Homey. This one I'm going to put in the inner corner and into Phenomena. I like the bleed of it because there's like little glitter particles that are going into Phenomena. This is really pretty. Okay, you guys, I have some new products from Huda Beauty, like the Easy Blur Primer. I'm really excited to try this. I've tried her primers in the past. Some are supposed to be hydrating or smoothing. I haven't been a huge fan, but I really want to try this. I've seen some videos while I was waiting for mine to show up, and it looks intriguing. So it's like a pink silicone. It kind of reminds me of the Tarte. I have it in my drawer. It's like a Tarte smoothing. I definitely want my porous areas to be smoothed out, just flawless. I am 40 years old, so my skin starts to do whatever it wants. And I should have taken better care of it as I was a teenager. But hindsight is 2020. And I do what I can with the makeup products that are available. So I'm really hoping this just fills in my pores and makes it look flawless. Because I've heard some good reviews. I have high hopes. And then of course, the Easy Blur. I was gonna do a comparison. I can do that in the future. But today, because we're going and venturing out, I just want to get my makeup done. Let me know if you want to see a side-by-side comparison. Maybe it can just be like an Insta reel or something. But I have mine in the shade Macaron. It's 230N. This says it has 1.5% niacinamide. Okay. Shakewe'll. I do still have the banana bread setting powder. I tried to return it, but because I bought it as a bundle, they wanted me to return the entire bundle, and I was like, you know what? I'll deal with it. So when I have self tanner on, banana bread's not horrible. It's just not my favorite. All right, so we'll do one side first. I don't know if that's too much. We'll see. Maybe I use too much, maybe not. And I've been using the brush that they sent me. I really like this foundation brush. It's really nice. It's a little bit lighter than I would normally use, but that also means I can deepen it up with bronzer and other things. Not a horrible thing. I would rather it be too light and need to be like toned up a little bit than too dark and trying to like do everything to fix it. Okay, you guys, I really like this. I don't know that the primer like fully filled this area in. That's fine. I still have concealer and powder, which will also help with that. It is a glowy formulation, so it's looking very like natural and skin-like. And then all my redness. Okay, I don't know that I need as much as I took earlier, but we'll start out here. Maybe I do need as much as I took earlier. Alright, I do have a couple things that are not new, but more things that are new, so I figured I'm just going to speed through those and they'll be listed down below if you want to know what they are. And then banana bread. That way you guys can see like the difference, because this does have a yellow tone compared to what I normally use. Okay, before we finish off the base products, I want to finish off the eye look and dive back in. Alright, into the shade Mellow. Little tiny compacted smudge brush. And this is going to go the entire length. That's light enough that I don't know that I really needed it. It's blending in with this foundation. But we already started. What you do to one side, you must do to the other, because it can change the colors that follow. Into the shade Vim. Would be helpful if I didn't block my eye while I did this. I think my roommate is up. And then into the shade Pep. Just right here in the outer corner, feeding into this crevice. And switching over to my larger compacted smudge brush. Okay, I did pick up some new products from ILIA and Buxom. So I have the new bronzer and the highlighter, and then the Buxom blush. These are all cream to powder formulas, which is why I didn't do them first. So I have the cream bronzer in Rise. Place that just around the frame and then a little bit into the cheeks a little bit. So ILIA is definitely one of those more natural brands, but I wanted to try these out. Oh, this is pulling my powder. That's awesome. I might have to powder on top of it. Okay, you guys, this I think should have been done before I powdered. This is a little bit more cream than I thought it was. I thought it was more cream to powder, but I must have misread. It's blending out nicely, but it did pull some of my powder, so I'm gonna have to powder over it. It's like a slippy, yeah, kind of like a oily, creamy. Yeah, that should have been on top of foundation. Whoops. Live and learn. Learn from my mistakes, so you don't do it. It's okay. I'll just go back and powder on top of it. What I can do, because my sponge and even my foundation brush, I can go back in and just kind of on the edges, feather it a little bit, and then see if I can press it in. I'm going to grab my powder to see if I can fix this. I don't know why I thought I could do this after powder. I should have learned my lesson by now. Okay, and then I have the blush from Buxom. And I didn't want it to be like too intense anyways, which is fine. But do it after foundation, before powder. Alright, so I have mine in the shade Wanderlust. No, this is the Wanderlust Primer Infused Blush in the shade Goa. This is a really pretty shade. See, I've only ever tried Buxom's lip glosses and lip plumpers, and they are some of the best. I hadn't picked up their blushes, and then I saw it on Flip, and I was like, I should probably try this out. And it is so pretty. That is a gorgeous blush. Now I gotta match the intensity. I may have made my nose too bright. That's why you take your sponge that has concealer on it and just dab it a little bit over to subdue it a little bit. All good. It's all good. Under control, pressed in, it's fine. And then I have the ILIA Cream Highlighter, Light Shift Cream Highlighter in Glint. So the packaging on these are really cool. On the back, it tells you how to recycle it, but like you just twist this off. Once you twist it, the mirror comes off and then you can start recycling and dismantling the rest of the compact. I think that's really neat. Oh yeah, this is kind of that cream to powder type of formulation that I was expecting. Let's see. Am I gonna mess my makeup up again? Let's do the inner corner. Oh, we can get it beaming. I was not expecting that. Let's do the brow bone. Okay, she is a subtle highlight that can be beaming. If you like a subtle highlight, you will get that with this. I can definitely wear this for work. And it's more natural than like intense, but it's there. All right, I need to go do brows, liner, mascara, and lips, and I will be back with the final look. Okay, you guys, I'm done, and this is the final look. I really like how my makeup turned out, although there were some issues. The eyeshadow palette, as much as most people are like, do we really need this? I like it. I gravitate towards these shades. So maybe if this is your color story or your wheelhouse where you feel safe, this might be the palette you want to pick up. If you're more of a cool tone person or you like bright, vibrant colors, you're probably not going to gravitate towards this. I do like that there are a variety of shades that I can reach for, something a little bit more on the warm tone with the reddish tones in there, something a little more neutral. I feel like I have a good variety in this palette. And for me, I will get some use out of it. There is another palette that I've seen in her collection that she had released a couple years ago. I don't know the name of it, but I also know that palette was like $120. I wasn't going to spend that kind of money. This is more in the $60, $70 range, depending on where you purchase it. I know I purchased it off the US site, but if you're paying in euros or wherever you are in the world, it might vary a little bit because of the currency. And I'm finding that out a lot with purchasing in Germany versus purchasing in US dollar. So it depends on what your price point is and what you're comfortable with. I, however, do like this palette because I feel like as neutral as I have to stay with my makeup currently, I'm going to play around with this more. And then I can do like a fun little pop on my Saturday civilian days, whereas I can keep it very neutral and toned down during the normal work week. But let me know, are you picking it up? Are you a neutral person? Do you want the warm toned browns? I know, what is it, the bronze palette, and there's retro. Those are more like red tones, not really brown tones when I look at those. I don't have them here for comparison. I could not bring my entire collection with me, which bums me out, but I know that I was gonna get this anyways. Now, for my skin. I'm looking at my skin. The primer did not, like, it smoothed it out a little bit. I think I still need the Tarte Timeless right through here because my pores are like, hello, I'm still here. I'm raising my hand so you can see me. And then even then, like, I know like on this side, I went in pretty heavy with the foundation and then I started out light here and then built it up. Either way, both sides, I'm not sure if it's my favorite foundation. I'll use it more. I'll try different primers. Maybe it could be the primer. Because if this is a blurring primer, it's not necessarily hydrating. If I'm going to use a mattifying foundation, especially as I've gotten older, I have to use a hydrating primer, a hydrating serum like I have on my desk right now, the Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Dew Drops. I will do this and a hydrating moisturizer before I do a like mattifying foundation, just because my skin needs to be extra juicy even though I'm oily. That's just how my skin is. I don't understand it. So it looks kind of cakey. It doesn't feel cakey, but then I'm also like right here, it's accentuating my lines. I don't like that. And I did use all Huda Beauty. Concealer, powder, primer, foundation, all of the lines. We'll see how it wears. I'll try it out a couple more times. As of right now, it's not my favorite. I do have other foundations that I need to try out, and I know that there's foundations in my collection that I prefer more, including the stick foundation from Huda Beauty. I wore that the other day, and it is still gorgeous. The bronzer from ILIA, I will try this out again. It is a cream product, not cream to powder. I misread that. I don't know if it's just because the early morning, and I'm a little confused. We will try. The highlighter is a cream highlighter. I like it. It's definitely something I could wear for work. It's subdued. It's not super intense. And it did not disrupt my makeup. It did not disrupt my makeup. So I do like that. And then of course the blush from Buxom. I like it. It's a really pretty shade. Be careful. Don't go in too heavy-handed. I did. And I had to tone it down with my blender. But you guys, that is it for this video. Let me know your thoughts. Put it in the comments. We'll have that conversation. I'm so excited that you guys watched this video. And until next time, before you leave, if you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the bell for notifications of new videos. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Until my next video, you guys, bye. I'll see you in the next one.